You ever notice how some people just make things happen no matter what's in their way, while others stay stuck in a loop of excuses and waiting? These rare individuals create their own reality. This quality is what I call high agency, and it's hands down the number one trait that I look for when I'm hiring for my team, when choosing relationships in my life, when advising leaders, when evaluating myself. Let me tell you why this matters, more than almost anything else. When I was running Success Magazine, I had two different executives who worked for me who perfectly illustrated the difference. Executive A, he had an Ivy League degree, perfect resume, impressive connections. Executive B had a state school education, limited expertise and background, and no fancy pedigree. But when advertisers pulled out during the financial crisis, Executive A said, "This economy is killing us. We'll just need to wait it out." Executive B said, "I found 5 new revenue channels unrelated to advertising dependency, and we can tap these while advertisers are retreating." When our print cost skyrocketed, Executive A said, "These increases are beyond our control. I guess we'll have to raise prices." Executive B said, "I restructured our print schedule and found a new vendor that will save us 18% without sacrificing quality." Same circumstances, completely different perspectives. One saw immovable obstacles. The other saw puzzles to be solved. Guess which one I'm still in touch with to this day? Guess which one is now running their own successful company? Executive B's high agency mindset was more valuable than any qualification on paper. This same principle applies to every relationship in your life. Think about the friends who energize you versus those who drain you. The energy drainers typically say things like, "That's just how things are. We can't change the system. Someone should really fix that." The energy givers say, "I got this. I'll take care of it. I'll figure it out." One leaves you feeling helpless. The other one creates possibility. Which one would you rather have in your life? The same goes for your children's development. I've observed thousands of parents over the years. The most successful ones don't focus primarily on grades or achievements. They focus on developing high agency thinking. When their child says, "I can't do it," they don't jump in and solve the problem. They ask, "What have you tried so far? What else could you try? Where can you look up help with this?" This approach creates adults who take initiative without being asked, find workarounds instead of giving up, see setbacks as temporary, not permanent. But perhaps more importantly, this quality is what I constantly evaluate in myself. Every time I face a challenge, I ask, am I being a high agency or a low agency person right now? When an important vendor failed to perform last year, my first reaction was frustration and blame. They cost us our goals. They lied about their capabilities. The whole exercise was a waste. But after allowing myself briefly to feel that frustration, I shifted to high agency thinking. What opportunities does this unexpected opening create for us? How can we refocus to turn this apparent loss into a win? What's the fastest way to replace this revenue? This quick mental shift led us to get more aggressive in our AI adoption, and what ended up creating in a month what was more than the scope of the vendor's 6-month proposal. The circumstance didn't change. My mindset and approach to the problem did, and that made all the difference. So how do you identify high agency people, and how do you develop more of it in yourself? Here are the telltale signs of high agency thinking. Language patterns. Low agency will say, "That's impossible because." High agency will say, "That's challenging, but what if we..." Response to setbacks. Low agency people will say, "Well, blame, complain, or give up." High agency people, they will analyze, adjust, and try something else. Solution orientation. Low agency, 80% on problems, 20% on solutions. High agency, 20% on problems, 80% on solutions. Permission-seeking behavior. Low agency waits for perfect conditions. High agency takes actions and seeks forgiveness if needed. Relationship with rules. Low agency, those are the rules, nothing can be done. High agency, is this rule actually immovable or just a guideline? Now, to be clear, high agency doesn't mean being reckless or being disrespectful. It does mean focusing on what you can control, finding creative solutions within constraints, taking ownership of outcomes. And here's the good news. This quality can be developed. If you want to foster high agency in yourself, in your team, in your children, celebrate initiative. Recognize action taking, even when outcomes aren't perfect. Reframe failures. Ask, what did we learn? Not who's to blame. Model possibility thinking. This seems difficult, so let's think of 3 possible approaches. Create challenge rituals. When somebody brings you a problem, respond with, what solutions have you considered? Expand the constraint conversation. Within these constraints, what can we do? And I'll leave you with this one powerful truth. In a world of accelerating change and uncertainty, the single greatest predictor of success isn't intelligence, isn't connections, isn't even specialized knowledge. It is the high agency mindset that says, I can figure this out. I'll find a way. This is ultimately up to me. So ask yourself, what one situation in your life right now would benefit from a high agency approach? Share that with us in the comments below.